Good evening and welcome to the Portsmouth School Board meeting, Tuesday, June 12th, 2007, here at the Eileen Dondero Foley Council Chambers at the Portsmouth City Hall. I'm going to ask the superintendent for the roll call.
Regarding attendance this evening, please. Nancy Novelin Clayburgh.
Here.
Sherry M. Garrity.
Here.
Clay Hayward.
Here.
John Lyons. Brendan Ristano.
Here.
Mitch Childman.
Here.
Carson Smith.
Here.
Ann Walker. Linda Brulette.
Here.
Ann Mayer. Abby Rockefeller.
Here.
In a moment, I'm going to ask us all to rise for a moment of silent reflection, and preceding that is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask that in honor of Flag Day, which is coming up later this week, I'm going to ask all vets to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and I know we have a few veterans out there, and we appreciate what they've done. As we rise for a moment of silent reflection, please keep in mind those that are less fortunate than us, those that are protecting us in the armed forces throughout the world, and also keep Jim Catkins in his family in our thoughts. Jim is Steve Bartlett's counterpart out of SAU 50. Jim's been over at SAU 50 for a very long time. He lost both his mother and mother-in-law this past week, so please keep them in mind, and we'll rise for a moment of silent reflections, and I'll ask the vets then to lead us.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we're going to go right into item 1C, which is a very large honor that is bestowed upon the Portsmouth School Board, which is recognizing the retirements of faculty members throughout the system. In a moment, I'll ask that Nancy Clayburgh, Bob Lister join me down at the podium to hand out the retirement plaques. And there aren't words that can explain how we feel about each and every one of you. There are a number of you out there that have touched my life deeply, and my family's life deeply, as teachers, as friends, as coaches, and I know that I am just one on the tip of the iceberg of so many that you have touched out there. As we go down the list when I'm handing out the plaques, I may say a few personal things about you. It really doesn't matter what we say to you tonight. It's what you've done for us in the past. Again, on behalf of the Portsmouth School Board, we thank each and every one of you. I'm going to ask that Nancy and Bob, well, one other thing before we go, because everybody's wondering, this is a new tradition. Anybody that goes on a great a school board approved out-of-state field trip must now come back and bring us a goodie bag, and we can blame this on, and it's a thank you from the past students and staff that the bags are graciously prepared in by the talented retiring Gene Dalden. Again, I think, you know, please all, when we do this, they must come back with a goodie bag from now on. Appreciate it very much from the past students. You're on this side. And we're going to ask that you all come this way so that I don't get yelled at by Channel 22 and you receive your plaque and our thank you. First individual that we have retiring tonight is John O'Reilly. Now, I don't know. Oh, Jack. Jack O'Reilly, science teacher for Portsmouth High School for the last 11 years. Jack came over to us from the Navy Yard. Again, there's always a personal story from each one of you, but I know that Jack has a great influence on my family, and I want to personally thank everything you've done, Jack. Thank you. Next is Allison Hamilton, grade 6 teacher at the middle school. She has 12 years of service. Oh, I knew you were there. I saw you out there. And again, on a personal side, Jean has helped not only my children, but my wife and other things that have happened within at the middle school, making her feel welcome when she first began her career in public education. And thank you for your 12 outstanding years. Next is a paraprofessional special ed from our past program, Jean Dayland. She has 19 and a half years as a special ed person, and she's always at the door when we walk in. Who's going to do Thanksgiving supper?
I have no idea.
Oh, what are you doing Thanksgiving? Are you coming? You'll come by and have Thanksgiving, won't you?
I'll probably be in Florida. But I'm sure that they'll work it out, that you can all come and enjoy the Thanksgiving dinner anyway.
Thank you so much for everything you've ever done. Next is Nancy Johnson, who is unable to be here tonight. She's a paraprofessional in the special ed program at the middle school and has 20 years with our students under the paraprofessional program. And Nancy has been in a number of schools, not just the middle school, through her career, and we want to thank her for her time with our students. Next is a familiar face, Shirley Novelski, clerical at the Portsmouth High School, 20 years. Just when things were getting fun, Shirley decides it's time to leave. And again, a person that makes life easier for the school system in so many ways, because Shirley has not just been at the athletic program, but Shirley has been throughout the system as a clerical, and many people will miss you. Thank you. Now we have that holiday season coming upon us, through Christmas. Guidance counselor at the middle school. She is a person that has worked with so many students and given so much of her blood, sweat, and tears at many times, working with very difficult students and making sure that they're put on the right path. And I know that she's going to keep, and she wants to keep involved on the middle school project, and I hope to see her around every day as we work towards a new middle school. Thank you very much. Now, I remember when this individual took this job, her current job, but she's been with the school system for 21 years as the Career Technology Director at Portsmouth High School, Pamela McCartney. And let me just say this. She brought the program into the 21st century and beyond. The current building of the Technology Center that we have there would no way be done if it had not been for all the hard work that Pam has put in. Now the next one, I always have a little bit of fun with her, and I tried to this past Friday. It's been my desire to really make graduation difficult for Margaret. And as all the diplomas were sitting on the table, I said, can't I just mess them up a little bit and tip the table over? And she gave me a few threats. Margaret has just been a survivor, both in good and hard times at the high school during renovations. And I don't know how anybody will survive without Margaret at the helm. They will. And Margaret has 21 years also. Patricia Doro, paraprofessional at grade 1 Little Harbor School, 22 years. She has helped so many of our students down there. As you know, and I believe also, if I remember right, because you've been at other schools too. You were out at the high school for a number of years. You followed students throughout our school system, those with both handicaps and difficult learning situations, and those students are greatly appreciative of all the hard work in making them graduates of Portsmouth High School. Thank you. All right, somewhere we got to stop the bleeding from all the secretaries deciding to retire here. People do not know. We appreciate all faculty members and what they do, but I tell you, our secretarial clericals, the school system would drop by its wayside if it weren't for these individuals. And she is very much one that will be missed for all the hard work that she does with the great offices as a clerical and secretary, is Patricia Weeks. She has 31 years. What'd you do, start when you were 12? Like I say, there's a few here that we have personal stories and maybe secrets that we'll keep to ourselves. Linda Berry, please be quiet. Work-study coordinator at the computer technology teacher, Portsmouth High School, 32 years. And yes, I was there when she first began. She worked at a store called Kimball's. I could never quite figure that out because she was, did you know the owner or something? But no relation. Linda taught me how to do this, and if anybody doesn't know what this is, I am the fastest two-finger typer in the world. She tried very hard to get all of my digits to work, but it didn't seem to happen. And also, we'll never forget the times that we had at Jay's Peak Skiing. Enough said. Thank you very much, Linda. Again, one that's just surprising that she has 32 years in this system as an elementary teacher at Little Harbor. And again, another one that I know has been at other schools is Marcia Shaw, an outstanding teacher for so many students over the 32 years. It's going to be very hard. And again, I can't believe 32 years went by just like that. Well, thank you very much. Now, these next two kind of go hand in hand on a personal story because it's an absolute truth that the next one, I was his very first student in his very first class, and he should have retired at that point if he had any sense at all. But both he and the individual after him, along with a third individual, are the reasons I married my wife, Gina Rodriguez LePage. In all honesty, if it hadn't been for these two individuals, I would not have probably met my wife, Gina. I learned a lot from this individual. 33 years is just unbelievable because I'll never forget that classroom with everybody from Mustafa. By the way, there's 4 of those 2 still in jail out of that class. Yes, that's a truism. And Stan Leifert, 33 years, and also as a track coach and friend. Thank you for everything. Next, like I say, he's the second of the 3 that, somehow got me introduced to my wife. But the real irony of this is he also was my freshman sex education teacher, so that's why I have two children. So I did it right. So Bill Murphy, who has 34 years in the Portsmouth High School as the head, and as football coach, and as track. Now, at the Teachers in Retirement Tea, I said this, and I said if we could, and this is, again, all of these individuals are highly respected and could be models. But this individual, no, she had been in the school system for 3 years when I came into the school system, so she was a seasoned veteran at that time. But I will remember sitting in the back of her room, listening to her and saying to myself, maybe I would go into teaching, and then I learned that I really didn't have the patience for it. But Paula Bruno is the example of what a teacher is at the high school, and I want to thank Paula for her 36 years of service. I hate it when there's 2 pages. Going back, we got anybody left at Little Harbor after this? Going back over to the elementary teacher side, Little Harbor, Janet Holman, 36 years, and it's unbelievable, again, to think that this individual has been there that long, almost as long as the building itself has been there, because she has touched upon so many individuals and had influences on my children also. And I want to thank her for her time in the Portsmouth school system, because I believe you were out at the base too, right? See? Brackett Jones, thank you so much. Now I'm going to tie these two together because one of them wasn't, I hate to use the word smart enough, wasn't quick enough to get on out when she had a chance. But first of all, we'll take care of her husband, Kevin Rafferty, grade 6 teacher at the middle school, 36 years. And I think we have to recognize, along with her, for the second time, is his wife, Susan Rafferty, retiring. She retired in 2002 with 30 years as an elementary school teacher, and then decided she could come back in the fall of 2002 and spent the next 5 years as grade 6 teacher at Portsmouth Middle School. And this is a great team that we're going to be losing. Now, this next person, is he here? Oh, no, he's not at Wallace Sands? Okay, I just want to make sure, because I worked with Ken Laughlin for a number of years. I actually had him as a science teacher. I forget what I learned there, but I did learn something, Ken. But we had great times down at Wallace Sands. I left Wallace Sands. He stayed. I believe he's still staying on down there. But if you know anything about Ken Laughlin and his secondary job, he's an outstanding teacher. But if you ever want your house painted 3, 4, 5, how many times have you painted the damn building down there? Every year? So 30-odd years you've been painting Wallace Sands, so job security. Ken Laughlin, 37 years, an outstanding individual in the science programs. Thank you for everything. And next is a 37-year veteran at Little Harbor. Again, we're having, this great change down at Little Harbor of people retiring, and I know that a lot of them will be showing back up. This individual, I'm sure he will. He's one of the most outstanding elementary teachers that I've ever had the pleasure to meet. He just loves kids, and I know that he was out a little bit this year to illness in your back, and we're glad that you could finish up strong and now go out and retire. But Bob Snow, we want to thank you for your 37 years and every student that you've ever influenced in your life. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, let me see. I hate to give age out, but Nancy was 1 year old when this individual began in the school system. And this individual has 54 years in the Portsmouth school system as a paraprofessional Title I at Little Harbor School. She retired from the teaching and returned a few years later as a para. With 54 years, I would challenge anybody to ever have that, including Carl Ripken and baseball. It's an outstanding honor to see Gene Frazier retire tonight, and we want to thank you for everything. In conclusion, with all these retirees, Christopher Columbus had just set foot down in the Caribbean. It is 565 and a half years that these individuals represent, teaching and touching every student somehow in their educational life in the Portsmouth school system. Words do not express our thanks to each and one of you, but we hope and pray that you have a great and long retirement and come back and visit us, and again, touch the children with your educational and coaching knowledges that you have. Thank you for your time and love with our children. And you can go home and grade those last papers that you have, because I know you want to.
I know the subject of legal details to be worked out.
It happens to us all. Doesn't matter what you do. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
I hate doing that. I like people talking.
7 years.
We'll move on to item 1D. I'm sorry, we just did 1D. 1E, approval of the May 22nd, 2007 minutes. Is there
So
any-
move.
Second.
No additions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Correspondence, you have a number of things that are in your packet tonight that I'll just go over. You had your retirement list. I did receive this today. I believe it may have been in my box, but it's from Julie Thurber. Dear Chairman LePage, this is to inform you that the Portsmouth Paraprofessionals Association's NEA New Hampshire's desires to bargain a master contract for the years beginning in 2008. This notification is in accordance with the requirements of RSA 273-A:3. Please contact me to set dates for the first negotiation sessions. And as I've told you, all negotiations will begin sometime with some briefings in September. And I believe and I hope that we're going to host with the State of New Hampshire a School Boards Association workshop on what negotiations are, so members who have not been on the board as long have an idea, because it is 5 or more years since we have had negotiations. If we actually take it, you could go back 7 years, because we started negotiations 7 years ago to get to the 5-year contract. So I just want to point that out, that we are about to do that. Next is Power Standard 101. I just got this, so I'm not sure.
I'll be addressing that later.
Okay, you're going to address that later. Next is a thank you letter. Dear Portsmouth School Board, thank you very much for recognizing me in your last meeting. That was very nice of you. Thank you for the Barnes & Noble gift certificate and the beautiful card full of all your kind words. You are an incredible group of people. Thank you for all your knowledge and guidance you have given me. You blessed my life. Good luck as you continue to improve the school system and bless the lives of others. Thanks again for the gift. That would be from our great graduate, Elisa.
Thanks, Elise.
Thank you very much.
There is an editorial, as it was noted in the Portsmouth Herald, Teach Your Children Making the Right Choices, in regards to drug and alcohol, that was done jointly, and I really am impressed when we do something jointly with another branch of the government in the city of Portsmouth by Bob Lister and Michael Magnet, Chief of Police. And then you have the New Franklin Gazette is also in there. Any other items to be brought forth? Oh, was Harbor Lights? Harbor Lights is underneath us. And again, I thank Harbor Lights, which is put out by the Little Harbor PTAs. I want to thank them for all they do. And again, we just got these tonight, so I haven't had a chance to review this, but will shortly. That's nice. Okay. No other correspondence?
Could I just say one thing
Yep,
about the?
certainly.
I just wanted to point out, because I drive by Little Harbor all the time, and I just came to my attention here in the Harbor Lights newsletter that the Little Harbor has a new sign, if you haven't noticed it. It looks really great. And I remember when they came to the board and talked about their plans, and they followed through, and there it is. It's great.
I remember them going to the city council to get approval for it.
They wrote a grant for it.
Bob has one item under correspondence.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'd just like to just thank the community for the past week for 2 graduations that we had, one at the middle school last Thursday and one at the high school last Friday. in celebration graduation, just to thank you to everyone in the community, business people, and individuals who provided an opportunity for the graduates to have just an unbelievably well done graduation, and the celebration graduation after that, for all the prizes that were available to the students and the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of scholarship money. The community has been unbelievably supportive in all these efforts, and I'd just like to thank everyone and thank the board for all you did to make this so successful. Thank you.
If I could just add to that, celebration graduation is an effort the parents sponsor for the graduating seniors. It's an all-night celebration, and I just have to let you all know that our superintendent, the program is more than 25 years old. I think this was our 27th year, and Bob Lister has stayed up all night each of those 27 years. So our superintendent is just an incredible guy that can't just give away my age, and I'll tell you, I can't stay up all night. So I really appreciate your effort, Bob. That was wonderful. Thank you once again.
They can only know your age if they can add
54 plus 1.
one. Any other correspondence or recognitions at this time? Welcome to the new student. I'm going to hand this over to our most recent graduate, Louisa.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tonight we have a very special moment. I just want to introduce everyone's board and everyone who's watching. This is Miss Abby Rockefeller. She's currently a sophomore at Portsmouth High School, and she is the new student rep. So congratulations, Abby. Just going to give a brief idea of who Abby is. Abby, as I said, is a sophomore. She'll be a junior next year at Portsmouth. And Abby currently lives in Greenland. At Portsmouth High School, she participates in the Student Council, the Spanish Club, and Gourmet Club. She's also an active field hockey player. And just this year, she won MVP for her team. Abby has also been on highest honors all year long and received awards for excellence in American Studies, English, Biology, and Ecology. Abby also loves to travel. Just this past April, she went to Costa Rica with the Spanish Club. And just next week, she leaves with her family for Ireland. I just have to say that I have gotten to know Abby fairly well over these last 2 years with her, and she's a wonderful girl, and you are very lucky to have her for the next year as the new student rep. And you're also very lucky I just said that. You're also very lucky to be a part of this wonderful group that have the opportunity to get to know over this past year. So congratulations, Abby, and good luck with everything that you do. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
At this time, Abby, is there anything you wish to say? We're all set.
I'm fine.
Okay. Don't be shy. That's the one thing Lisa can teach you about, how not to be shy. Tell you how to get right to us.
Thank you.
See no other items under item 1. We'll move to item 2, agenda approval. Any other items for tonight's agenda to be added, other than we did discuss that under the policy committee, we'll get a policy update briefing on those that were pending. Anything else? Moving on to item 3, public commentary. This time, public commentary is open. We have nobody signed up at this time. Is there anyone wishing to speak? No. Okay. Declare it closed. Items for discussion. Wentworth School, item A. As it has been stated, I'll just open this with a brief statement. For the last year, we've had a number of people that have inquired to rentals and what the use of the Wentworth School, whether it has educational purpose, what is the school's desire with the Wentworth School. It's been in our inventory for a very long time. It was a school that was closed with the downsizing during Ps. It is of a wood structure, and no matter what, we could never bring it back as a full-time school. But the board has been having to work the last couple of months making decisions on whether the structure itself and the property can stay within the Portsmouth school system. So at this time, with discussions with both Attorney Sullivan, John Bohinko, and that of the school board, I'm opening it up for discussion. Nancy.
I'd like to make a motion, and In our non-public, we had John Lyons with us, who unfortunately had to leave, and I just want to thank him for helping us draft this motion. But I move that, subject to legal details to be worked out between City Attorney Bob Sullivan and the School Department Superintendent Bob Lister, they be authorized to turn over the Wentworth School to the City of Portsmouth. At this time, the overall costs of operating and maintaining the Wentworth School far outweigh any possible educational use of the building by the Portsmouth School Department. Independent of this vote, the board does continue to express its support of the Exchange City's 6th grade curriculum.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Open for discussion. Discussion in regards to the Wentworth School. This is policy of nature. I will have to ask for roll call.
Sherry Ham Garrity,
Yes.
Clay Hayward,
Yes.
Brendan Restano,
Yes.
Mitch Childman,
Yes.
Carlson Smith,
Yes.
Nancy Noveline Clayburgh,
Yes.
Kent LePage.
Yes. Passes unanimous. Again, we'll hand this motion over to Bob and work out details, and if anything does come up, Bob will report back to us that might affect or alter this at any time before moving to, it will move to City Council sometime in July, I believe, if it does stay in accordance. Seeing no other discussion on the Wentworth School, we'll move to item 4B, professional elections. Steve Z.
Thank you. We have a number of nominations for you this evening. First, we have Janine Beck, who we are nominating for a kindergarten teaching position at Little Harbor School. Janine has a master's in elementary education.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for Janine Beck. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Next, we have Joseph Kraus, nominating for an English teacher position at Portsmouth High School. Joseph has a master's in fiction writing from the University of New Hampshire.
Move to accept.
Second.
Second.
Moved in second for Joseph Kraus, replacing Paula Bruno. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Next, we have Kimberly McGlinchey, nominated for a physical science teaching position at Portsmouth High School, replacing Jack O'Reilly, retiring.
Move to accept.
Kimberly has a master's in environmental education from the University of New Hampshire.
Now move to accept.
Second.
Moved and seconded for Kimberly McGlinch, physical science, replacing Jack O'Reilly. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
We have Amy Spivak, nominated for a kindergarten teaching position at New Franklin. Amy has a master's in elementary education from the University of Phoenix.
Move to accept.
Second.
Any discussion? Amy Spidzek, I hope I said that right. Kindergarten teacher, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
And we have Jill Fass, nominated for a grade 1 position at Little Harbor School, replacing Marcia Shaw, retiring, and she is in process of a master's degree in reading from the University of New Hampshire.
Move to accept.
Second.
Moved and seconded for Jill Fast, replacing Marcia Shaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Next, we have Renee Westney, nominating for a kindergarten teaching position at Dondero Elementary School. Renee has a master's in elementary education from the University of New Hampshire.
Move to accept.
Second.
Moved and seconded for Renee Westney, kindergarten teacher at Dondero. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Next, we have Tricia Comey, for a grade 2 teaching position at Dondero Elementary School, replacing Barbara Early, who's transferring grade levels. Tricia is currently enrolled in a master's program of integrating teaching through the arts at Lesley University, and Tricia is also a resident of Portsmouth.
Move to accept, Mr.
Chairman.
Second. Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right-hand side of the table wanted to get one of them in, huh?
Next, we have Lauren Sargent for a grade 1 teaching position at Dondero Elementary School, replacing Amy Jones, who is transferring. Lauren is in the process of a master's degree at elementary education at Franklin Pierce College.
Move to accept.
Second.
Moved in second for Lauren Sargent. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Next, we have Travis Park, nominated for a grade 6 one-year position at Portsmouth Middle School, replacing Cheryl Weston, who is taking the assistant principal position.
Move to
Travis
accept.
has a bachelor's degree in elementary education from Utah Valley College.
Moved in, was there a second?
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any? Passes unanimously.
Next, we have Diane Arabian for a grade 5 teaching position at Little Harbor School, replacing Robert Snow, retiring. Diane has a master's degree in reading and writing from the University of New Hampshire.
Move to accept.
Second.
Moved in second for Diane. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Next, we have Martin Carter for a physical education teacher position at Portsmouth High School, replacing William Murphy, retiring. Martin is in process of master's degree in adventure learning graduate program at Plymouth State University.
Move to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes.
And next, we have Kristen Murray for a grade 4 teaching position at Little Harbor School, replacing Janet Holman, retiring. Kristen has a master's in English from the New Hampshire Writing Program at University of New Hampshire.
Move to accept.
Second.
Moved in second for Christine Murray. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes.
And that wraps up our teaching nominations. We do have one coaching election to bring to you this evening, and that is of Zachary Piper for the varsity boys soccer coach, replacing Martin James.
Move to accept.
Second.
Moved in second for Zach, of all trades. I know Zach, so yes. All in favor?
Hold on, we have a
Oh, question, yes.
I'm sorry, is he a teacher or not a
No.
teacher? No teacher? Okay. Thank you.
But he can paint a house. I've seen him do it. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We will have a few more coming in as we're fastly trying to get so that they will all be approved and set in the next, our next meeting is at the end of the month, and we will have some more at that time. Okay. Moving on to item 5, we have Policy Committee, 5A, Policy Committee. In your packet, there are some policies, and I'll open it and take it to Sherry for policy discussion.
These are just two of the policies that we previously have had in the past. They did get, I believe, committee passed for the second reading, and there was just wording changes and technicalities that we were fixing, and Kathleen is just giving them back to us so that they will make it in for the agenda books for the next school year.
So, Mr. Chair, can I make a motion on the
Yes,
policy?
you may.
Could I move that we agree to accept the policies, subject to changes in the language that Sherry and I have talked about, and she has some copies of, and with the final review by Kathleen, by legal counsel, just to ensure there's no change in the content. It's just language issues.
Second.
It's moved and seconded, again, for language issues, not content, but will be reviewed by legal counsel. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm sorry, that has to be roll call.
Policy.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
Policy on the policy.
Word policy kind of gave it away.
Regarding the policies, Clay Hayward,
Yes.
Brendan Restano,
Yes.
Mitch Childman,
Yes.
Carson Smith,
Yes.
Nancy Novelin Clayburgh,
Yes.
Sherry Ham Garrity,
Yes.
Kayla Page.
Yes. Item 5B, Athletic Committee.
That's me. We have a meeting scheduled for June 19th, next Tuesday, at 6 o'clock at the high school. And one of the items on the agenda is the review of the athletic contract for this past year. So we're meeting with Russ Wilson and Principal Collins, and that will be one of the items on the agenda. So we'll get back to you about that.
Okay. And I believe under our hiring, under Russ, on that, there would be a review of the past year, so if we could have something in for our July meeting, probably would be helpful.
So a review of the seasons and stuff.
A review
the
of,
whole
well,
year.
actually, it wasn't his seasons as much as the job criteria and how it worked for him.
Okay.
And again, I think a list of his employees would be probably helpful in that, because I know that was kind of fluid as we went into it.
Okay.
Next is item 5C, Curriculum Council. Steve Z, I believe this falls under for the summer literacy.
Yeah, I primarily wanted to update you on one of the major events in terms of our work with literacy coming up. In your folder, I put a small packet of information regarding our 4-day Summer Literacy Institute that we're hosting at Portsmouth High School next Tuesday through Friday. And I also wanted to extend an invitation to any board members who might be interested in attending. We have a keynote presenter and a kind of a kickoff event for the Institute on Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock in the auditorium at the high school, and you would be more than welcome to attend as you would get more detailed information than I'm going to give you tonight in terms of what this work means for us as a district, where we're heading in terms of literacy, and what we are terming the identification of power standards. And one of the pages you have in front of you is a little briefing on what that means, what power standards are all about. But for us, it's about deciding collectively and collaboratively what are the most essential student learnings and literacy at each grade level. And then to be able to look at our assessments and how we align them with those expectations, and how we use the data from those assessments to really bring all of our resources to bear for all students so that we are sure all students reach those expectations. The additional early release days that you approved at your last meeting are geared towards that purpose as well. So this is part of a big picture in terms of our district work. We will have over 130 of our own staff members at this institute, which is a great turnout. We have about 20 of our teachers who will be facilitating the discussions. You'll see a breakdown of what each day's schedule, just some of the activities that will be going on. Our own Linda Burlett here is one of our facilitators. We have a number of people who are facilitating groups during the Institute. We also will be having some representatives from the New Hampshire Department of Education come down to take a look at the kickoff event and what this is all about, as well as representatives from other districts that have been labeled a district in need of improvement are interested in taking a look as well. So it's going to be a pretty collaborative event. We'll also have a few people from SAU 50, some teachers there, and so we're trying to broaden the involvement. But really it's focusing on, for Portsmouth, what are our expectations, what are our most essential expectations for student learning in literacy. And it's certainly a major event for us. I certainly want to thank Dr. Lister for all of his support and guidance in how we've put this together. As well as Joanne Simons, our reading director, and Paulette Hoflick, our student services director, as well as a team that we had together, including some other representatives from the different schools, and planning this. And it all ties into Curriculum Council, because Curriculum Council has been talking about this for a few meetings in a row now, as the council is also serving as our DINI monitoring team. So we're pretty excited about it. Again, I invite you to Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock in the auditorium. We have a keynote from Peg Portscheller, who is from the Center for Performance Assessment, and we'll be getting into a lot of the details in terms of what power standards are, what they mean for us, and then we'll roll up our sleeves and get busy with the work.
Questions for Steve Z? How many districts did you say you get signed up, or others coming in?
Well, we have, there'll be probably about 10 or 12 other districts that will have at least one representative there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have just one quick question.
Mitch?
So I'm curious, and I'm glad to actually see this. It says that part of what you're going to be doing is to identify essential learning from the previous grade level. So is this something that the district has historically done, or is this new?
This is new in terms of identifying in reading the most essential. I mean, we have curriculum frameworks, we have curriculum, we have those kinds of guidelines, but the purpose of developing power standards is to narrow that down to what are the absolute most essential. Sometimes they're called a safety net. That is to say, what does every student absolutely have to have before they go to the next grade level? And then we need to be able to respond when students are struggling with those things. And the purpose of having teachers identify what comes to grade level before is to, a lot of times it's the fifth grade teacher that has the best perspective of what fourth grade essential things are. And that information will then be given to the fourth grade team of teachers to use in their identification for the power standards.
Great. No other questions? And then under committee reports, I'm going to just throw this one out because I was just talking to Bob Lister. I apologize. And I know we got invitations. It was done a little bit different this year. Is that the Futures picnic? Normally we've had a dinner. Is tomorrow night. And I'll tell Patty right now, I know I'm going to go, and again, I just got it over the weekend, so I was busy. But if there's anybody else wishing to attend, and if you have never attended a Futures program, I highly recommend, it's going to be at Fort Tree Island off of Pierce Island tomorrow to attend. It's a celebration of the seniors that are graduating and getting one of the highest scholarship amounts that they can to attend the college of their choice, and also introducing the new students from the 7th grade level that are coming in to become part of the Futures program. These are what might be determined students at some risk and some financial trouble that might not be able to go on to college and are identified very early on. And again, it was a little bit structured differently, and I'm sure we can still find a couple of hot dogs and hamburgers to throw on the grill because this is a picnic event this year out on Fort Tree Island. If it were to rain tomorrow, it will be at the high school cafeteria. So if you could let Patty know at the end of the evening, I just want to make sure that board members, if you have a chance to spend time with fellow community members, because I believe a number of the board of directors from the Futures program will be there also. So one note that I did not bring with me, and I think everybody did get an invitation in the mail. I believe you did get that. Any other committee reports to be brought forth? Seeing none, Steve Bartlett's up under item 6, financial.
Okay, in your packets you have the month-end financial report for May. As you can see, we're at 86.31% spent. That's a couple of minute difference from last year, so we are right on track at this stage of the game. As I mentioned at last month's report, we were hoping that the energy savings from the mild winter and the better prices than we had anticipated will help offset the overage and maintenance, and I think that's still going to take place. And the other thing is I was asked at the last time, I think, because we had a presentation about food service and how food service was doing. And as of this morning's estimates, we're still on track to be very close to breaking even this year. So that's good news. Every year Pat's been able to, since she's been here, she's been able to cut it in half. So this year could be a good breakthrough year.
Thank you. Any questions in regards to financials?
I have one quick question.
Yeah, Mitch?
Stephen, could you just explain one more time, I'm sure you have, district-wide adaptive services?
Mm-hmm.
With that, we're looking at that large percentage, but it's not a lot of money, but what are we talking, what is that?
That's, it's like it's the 165, one below it is the out-of-district tuition, of which the majority is sped, and the one above it is like 504 in adaptive services, which don't qualify for special ed. But again, like special ed, they're difficult to predict sometimes, so that's why that one's over.
It's the 504 accommodation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those types of things.
other questions for Steve? Seeing none. Thanks to Nancy, she just reminded me, in our non-public session, we did discuss when we would have our first work session on the Portsmouth Middle School. And summer's fast approaching, and we need to have a number of meetings, and the first item we will have on that is a hopeful high attendance schedule to have at least 2 or 3 meetings to discuss the findings from the study circles and where the board wants to move in regards to the middle school project. So that will be on this coming Monday night. Just a reminder to the public, Monday night is the conclusion of the study circles. They will present both to the City Council and the Portsmouth School Board here in the chambers. That will happen at 6:30 with 16 groups participating. That will again be a week from yesterday at 6:30 here in the City Hall chambers. And then the next night, the school board will have its first work session, or continuing work sessions on the Portsmouth Middle School at Portsmouth High School in the library at 7 o'clock due to conflicts of other committee reports. We'll be meeting from 7 to 9:30-ish. So we'll see you in a week on that one. Any other business to be brought forth to the Portsmouth School Board at this time? I'm going to just make, Bob mentioned that there were two graduations since our last board meeting. There were actually the 3. I was very fortunate to attend both the PASS program graduation, and you talk about emotions. It's a very small group. They had 5 graduating this year from that program. Not all Portsmouth students, not all SAU 50 and 52, but it was a great time to watch that celebration of those individuals. And also, I too want to give Jeff Collins and his faculty high praise for everything that went on at Portsmouth High School graduation. Things can become very tough in those weeks. People really come together and do a lot. And I want to thank the community as a whole also for the graduation and the middle school graduation that John Stokel does an outstanding job with. In that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Opposed. Oh.